And minus my gavel. Huh. That's right. Thank you. I'm going to call this regularly scheduled meeting of Committee of the Whole to order. Councilmember Glidden is attending a workshop today, so she won't be joining us. So I'm Councilmember Johnson. I'll be chairing this meeting. And the first item we have on our agenda is a public hearing to consider the appointment of the appointment of the Executive Committee of Spencer Cronk to the position of City Coordinator for a 2-year term beginning January 2nd, 2014, already started, and ending January 2nd, 2016. And so, Madam Mayor, would you like to speak to introduce us?
I would. Thank you very much, Madam President. I am very excited about the potential for Spencer Cronk as our city coordinator. I will say it eventually got amusing as the process was moving forward, how many people walked up to me or emailed me or called me or texted me or sent carrier pigeons to say, hey, Mayor Hodges, you should consider Spencer Cronk for your city coordinator. I think that's a good sign that he is held in such high esteem by so many, including a number of you, actually. He is held in such high esteem by so many that they were motivated not just to think he would be great, but actually do something about that conviction they had, or that folks had about how great he would be in the city coordinator position. I agree with that assessment, and I always have, that he would be very, very not only good at the job, but we would be fortunate to have his skill set, his experience, and his demeanor as our city coordinator. And so that consideration of him was not a tough leap to make. But like I said, it got amusing because it happens so often and one doesn't fully discuss one's option. One of the advantages of the time we have taken to select a city coordinator is that I have a feeling had Mr. Cronk been approached about this in the heart of the legislative session, his consideration about the job would have been different than in the summer. And so I am grateful that he was willing to consider this at all. And many of us are familiar with his work at the state. He comes with accolades from the governor himself. He did the largest asset preservation in a bipartisan way in the state's history, but he also did a lot of work on continuous improvement, on efficiency, on making sure the systems are running well, and not just in a top-down way, but actually working with employees to get them enrolled in that project, and had a lot of success doing that. We often are less familiar with his work in New York, in the Bloomberg administration. You know, he worked there to look at how they do hiring and to change those how they do hiring to create more access for people while still ensuring to get really great people to work there in the city. And also did work to integrate new employees, which is important in general as we have new workforce folks coming, you know, a whole set of workforce changes we're going to be approaching in these upcoming years, not only in number of new employees due to retirements, but in kind as we work to diversify our workforce, and making sure everybody gets integrated well into our city enterprise is very important. So, you know, Mr. Cronk brings the full package of leadership, of vision, of management, of experience. He brings that with him to the city of Minneapolis at a time when we are in a period of transformation. We're heading out of a recession into a recovery. We have new leadership in the mayor's office and in the council offices, and a new charge to not only grow the city, but to make sure that we are focused on equity. And Mr. Cronk has experience in that and a dedication to that on a personal level as well as a professional level. He's also a really great person. Really great person to know and to work with, and I think he'll have a lot of success doing the job of just coordinating amongst a whole variety of interests at the policymaker level, at the department head level, and in the enterprise. So we are asking him to do a big job. Being the city coordinator of the city of Minneapolis is a big job in and of itself, including and not limited to the complications of our governance structure, and the grace with which I believe he will manage all of that, I cannot overstate. what he brings to that project as well. So enrolling the enterprise in our growth and equity goals, as well as, the foundation of running the city well, I think he will excel at all of these and be a good partner to all of us in that, and I could not recommend him more highly for this position.
Thank you. So I will open the public hearing. Encourage anyone who'd like to speak this morning to come forward. And if you would please give your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Carolyn Parnell. My home address
That would be
is
fine.
3319 34th Avenue South, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Madam Chair, members, Madam Mayor, I am here with great pleasure to testify in support of the nomination of Spencer Cronk for City Coordinator. I have worked, excuse me, with Spencer Cronk for 3.5 years. I am a commissioner in the state government agency of Minnesota IT, otherwise known as Minute, and the state CIO. And I have worked for the last 3.5 years with Spencer. Most significantly in a sub-cabinet that was established by Governor Dayton regarding government reform under the headline of Better Government for a Better Minnesota. We are representatives of 2 agencies, and a third actually, Minnesota Management and Budget, who have the unique position of providing the underpinnings of services for all of state government. We're sort of the engine that keeps things going, whether it's HR or finance or IT or real estate or procurement, and we have worked on many projects together. I have consistently been impressed by Spencer's ability to build really great working relationships, and I do have a couple of examples of how effective he has been in the state. One of the biggest transformations in state government in recent decades, actually, has been a law that was passed a couple years ago requiring us to consolidate all of IT in the executive branch. This, of course, was not something that made everybody happy, but is something that we needed to do anyway. And we in Minute really needed the cooperation and the partnership of business leadership. And Spencer consistently stepped up to the plate to support us in this effort, and in many cases offered his agency as the sort of guinea pig for implementing different stages of IT consolidation. It was absolutely invaluable to us as an agency. The second example I have is the same subcabinet for government reform was presented with the idea last year of establishing some kind of data governance for the state. There were a lot of conversations about big data, what is the state doing about big data, and how could we move from the concept of data as something that was owned and held on tightly by agencies to something that recognized that data can be an enterprise asset. Well, the first step, in my opinion, and I think in the state's opinion, was to put together a process for coming up with a governance model so that we could change the thinking around data as an asset in the state. That was assigned to Spencer. He took that on, set up an advisory council, pulled together a lot of disparate ideas and perceptions around data, and came out with a very sound approach to how we are going to go forward and establish data governance for the state. So in closing, I think that in my perspective, the 2 most important elements of leadership are integrity and the ability to build good working relationships and partnerships. And in my mind, Spencer personifies both of these qualities. And although it's a great loss of a business partner for me and a great loss to the state of Minnesota, I am a citizen of Minneapolis, so I win either way. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else care to speak?
Good morning, Madam President, committee members, and Mayor Hodges. Hi, John. I know him from my former role in Minneapolis Public Schools. I'm Brenda Caselius, Commissioner of Education, but more importantly, City of Minneapolis resident, and my capacity here to speak on behalf of Spencer's nomination. I think he's just a terrific person. I've gotten to know Spencer over the past 4 years as a professional colleague, as someone I can go to with hard issues. He's a problem solver, he's honest, he has great integrity and character, and he fights for equity every day. I can't imagine someone better of a person to coordinate our city. When I heard the news, I was so excited, and I talked to Spencer and said, I'm so happy because I'm a city Minneapolis resident, and just very, very, very honored that you have chosen him to represent our city. I have a lot of respect for R.T. Ryback as our former mayor and knew him personally, and so excited about Betsy's leadership and the transition. I think this is going to be a really nice, helpful addition to her team and to the city as we move forward, specifically about his professional capacity in order to really bring people together in a sub-cabinet. We've been able to, under the governor's leadership, work with other colleagues in the cabinet around equity issues and disparities, as well as address some of the more problem areas of really having better government for the people of Minnesota. And I know that he'll do that as well for the people of Minneapolis. Also, the continuous improvement that he has, the way that he's engaged our staff, makes him feel part of the work. And so his personal involvement, just most recently, the Department of Education received an award around innovation, and Spencer partnered with the Humphrey Institute and the Bush Foundation to be able to secure state agencies being recognized for the innovation and good work that they do. And I really respect his leadership on that. And then just large contracts, often very hard to navigate those big RFPs that we do, and his staff working with him and his leadership to lead just a really fair process for all involved has been wonderful. So I just wanted to be here today and didn't want to miss the opportunity to say, as a professional colleague of his and also as a city of Minneapolis, I think you're making a great appointment. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good morning, Chair, Mayor Hodges, and committee members. My name is Winnie Sullivan. I'm with the state of Minnesota, and I had the opportunity or the privilege to work with Spencer side by side for 3.5 years. And I'm here today just to testify his character and his work performance. My most memorable times with Spencer is during the 2011 state shutdown. And we all remember that. And he, right after that, we came back and he said, well, we're going to start working on our mission statement. And I said, mission statement? Really? So we worked on our mission statement, and we came up with a mission statement: provide the best value in government administrative services, which at the time really didn't mean much to me. I've been with the state for over 16 years, so every commissioner, I guess, has their mission statement. So I said, okay, that's fine. And some of the things we placed emphasis on was the customer satisfaction, continuous improvement, and employee engagement. So I said, well, the customer satisfaction, we do that very well at admin. And continuous improvement, we're working on that, and we're doing well with that. But the employee engagement part is what really raised my eyebrow. I thought, well, how are you going to engage employees who just come off of a shutdown and in the middle of a recession and just a salary freeze and just a whole lot of negativity going on? But Spencer came in every day with a smile on his face, and a contagious smile that just made you want to smile and want to roll your sleeve up and get to work. And he, by the end of the month, he knew all 500 employees by their first name, and they all knew him. He made a conscious effort to go out to each division and just meet with the people and shake their hands and get to know the people. And he was very concerned about employees being engaged and how to bring our folks together because we were well spread it out. So he set up employee events and focused on recognition for employees and started a new Star of the North program where you recognize the outstanding above and beyond work from employees or individuals. So he did a lot around employee engagement, and I can tell you it really paid off because all of our 500 employees are very sad to see him leave, but we will see him in a different capacity. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else care to speak? Welcome.
Good morning. Mary Jo Caldwell. I am the Continuous Improvement Director for the enterprise. Thank you for having me, Madam Chair, and Mayor Hodges and committee members. I want to take this opportunity to tell you that I've had experiences working across multiple agencies in a couple of different states, and I have never worked with a more clear and concise leader in continuous improvement initiative as I have with Commissioner Cronk. He came to Minnesota valuing this and appreciating and knowing what it can bring. Through his leadership, he has increased our program's budget, in effect tripling our capacity to work at an enterprise level. With that money, I have brought on 2 additional positions and right now a fellowship through the Humphrey School of Management. And that is through his vision that he knew that state government needed to bring on additional young, talented, motivated, interested staff. So this is just a month and a half into it, we are already realizing this is a big success. Fellow agency has already tried to recruit this fellow away from us, and we do term that a success. He also leads by example. He brings on board a great partnership with General Mills. He has strengthened this partnership with us through his continuing meeting with them, conversations. We are doing a master planning pilot, and that means how do you embed continuous improvement into the culture of an agency? Once we've completed this through the DNR and the Department of Administration, we hope to bring it on to every willing agency. Along with that, he is a sponsor of his own projects, and he backs continuous improvement projects. The 2 most recent ones that come to mind are the accounts payable, where we reduce the amount of time that it takes from a vendor submitting their invoice to the time that we pay that vendor, eliminating fees and penalties in that process. The other one was the human resource vacancy filling. We now take less time to bring a qualified candidate from the time that they submit their resume to the time that they are sitting in their chair at the new vacant position. It is going to eliminate a lot of lost candidates that we hope to gain because of a tedious, long hiring process. The last thing that I really want to say, very important thing, is the personal attention that he gives all of the divisions and the programs. For continuous improvement, he really makes an effort to come to our Lean 101 and our Kaizen Facilitator training to actually speak briefly to the training participants. He hopes that when he leaves there, that has motivated these trainees, and it most certainly has. He tells them, you are the ones that can make a difference. Go back, talk to your supervisors, talk to your managers, and tell them about the great opportunities for improvement that you've been thinking about. And that continuous improvement starts with them. The surveys that we get after he has spoken at our trainings, our satisfaction rating is sky high. They cannot believe that he has taken the opportunity to come and speak to them, thanking them for their dedication and the work that they do. Spencer Cronk, honestly, really makes a difference in everything he does. He will be missed. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else care to speak?
Good morning. My name is Curtis Yoakum. I'm an assistant commissioner at the Minnesota Department of Administration and also a city of Minneapolis resident. I've had the opportunity to work with Spencer for nearly 3 years, and I can honestly say that Spencer really does bring great energy and great ideas to the table. And just to echo the comments of Ms. Sullivan, I did want to concentrate a little bit on Spencer coming in, the energy he brought into coming up with a mission statement of that provide best value in government administrative services, and to measure that success in the goals of customer satisfaction, continuous improvement, and employee engagement. As Ms. Sullivan really put it, every commissioner comes in with a mission statement. Every entity has a mission statement, so why is that special? Spencer has really made sure that we've approached that to make sure that we are actually achieving what we've set out as our mission. Achieving that through coming up with tangible, measurable goals in every one of the department's business units, 15 different divisions or business units, and making sure that all those goals at each one of those units somehow tie back to that mission statement. And we've had great success. We meet quarterly, do operation reviews, and every division reports on where they're doing on those objective statements. And these aren't just good news hearings. Spencer has made it very clear. He doesn't want to hear just the good news. He wants to know where we're having the challenges and makes it very clear. Let's hear the bad news right away so we can address it immediately. Let's not skip over that. And those have been successful. Just a few examples. We do provide best value to our fellow state agencies who we serve. Just the last year, we've reduced, through effective lease negotiations, more than $7 million in lease savings. Workplace safety, which brings down our workers' comp costs. Through statewide safety initiative, brought down workplace injuries among state employees by nearly 18%, and that has a real bottom line effect on workers' compensation costs. Or whether it's sustainable energy. We've exceeded our goals for the Capitol complex by reducing energy consumption by more than 20%, or more than 21%. And so I just want to say these SMART objectives are real, they are measurable, they're quantifiable. We hear not only can we measure those, Spencer has gone to each and every one of his colleagues across the enterprise, sat down with every state agency, their senior leadership to know what are we doing right, but more importantly, what are we doing wrong and how can we correct that. But just as important, and I think Ms. Sullivan really touched on this, is that by developing these goals and measurable outcomes that tie directly back to the agency's mission, Spencer has developed a sense of unity and a sense of team at an agency that has very disparate business units and has traditionally always operated under a silo effect. I do believe that we are a team as far as an agency goes, and that's very positive. Just in short, Spencer Kronk truly brings with him a history of real accomplishments and effective management that has served the department and the state really well, and we do hope that that serves the city of Minneapolis well. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else care to speak? Seeing none, I'm going to close the public hearing, and I have Councilmember Fry in queue to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just briefly, in full disclosure, Mr. Kronk is a good friend, so I probably would be voting for him whether or not our meeting, which happened about a week ago, went well. But I was blown away. His professionalism really struck me as impressive. When we met, he was dressed in a full suit. He called me Councilmember Fry, which was a little bit weird coming from him. And he shook my hand, didn't hug me, which it was a different feeling from normal. But then we went back in my office, and what he unloaded was a great vision for the city and what the coordinator's office can bring to it. He noted that he wasn't the coordinator of any single department of the mayor's office or of the city council. He was a coordinator for the city of Minneapolis, managing policy and managing the relationships, which is a very important piece of that position. I know him personally, and now I know him professionally, and I can recommend him full-hearted for both. So I urge everyone to vote yes.
Anyone else care to speak? Seeing none, Mr. Kronk, would you like to say a few words?
Madam Chair, committee members, Mayor, this is very flattering. It is unusual when you hear so many nice things said about you, but It's an honor to be here today in consideration of the appointment of Minneapolis City Coordinator. As Councilmember Fry mentioned, over the past 2 weeks, I've had the pleasure of talking with each of you and learning about the opportunities and challenges that you see for the city. And we also began to discuss some of those initial strategies and how best to address them together. I've re-looked at the vision that you established back in March, and that's a noble one, where the Minneapolis is a growing and vibrant world-class city with a flourishing economy and pristine environment, where all people are safe, healthy, and have equitable opportunities for success and happiness. And if I'm approved by the council, I will work to ensure that our focus remains on that vision and the underlying city goals, which were to where Minneapolis is safe and livable and has an active and connected way of life, where disparities are eliminated so all Minneapolis residents can participate and prosper, where businesses, big and small, start, move, stay, and grow here, where natural and built spaces work together and our environment is protected, and where city government runs well and connects to the community it serves. In order to make measurable progress on those goals, however, the city must work effectively together, and it is through strong enterprise coordination that will help us be successful. I believe that my background in community development, city government, and state administration has positioned me well to provide this effective coordination. Most of you are now familiar with my professional history, but what I wanted to reiterate today was my passion for this work. I love Minneapolis, and I want it to thrive. It's my home, and it's an incredible city, and I know we can do even better. It would be my honor to have the opportunity to work with you so that we can continue building a city that runs well and effectively serves all of our citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, then I will we need to take the action of the committee of the whole to approve the appointment and then send it to the council. Is that correct, Mr. Carl? Okay. Well, I will make that motion then to approve the executive committee's recommendation, Spencer Cronk, to the appointed position of city coordinator. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Bender. Kano. Fry.
Aye.
Goodman. Gordon. Andrew Johnson. Palmisano.
Aye.
Quincy.
Aye.
Reich. Warsami.
Aye.
Yang. Barbara Johnson.
Aye.
12 ayes.
We have 12 ayes, a majority of the committee, and that action will be referred to the city council. Congratulations. All right. Thanks to all the people that came down to testify today. That's great. Thank you so much. All right, now our next item that we have is our reports of our committees. And the first committee to report is the Community Development Committee, and that committee is chaired by Councilmember Goodman.
Thank you, Madam President. The Community Development and Regulatory Services Committee has 5 items to be approved tomorrow. Item number 1 is the regular liquor business and gambling licenses. Item 2 is scratch bar and grill. Item 3 is making a change to our commercial hood and exhaust cleaning ordinance. Item 4 is staff's analysis of a TIF plan for 800 West Broadway. And item 5 is revising our schedule of fines to include offenses related to commercial pedal cars and transportation network companies.
Okay, any questions for Councilmember Goodman? Seeing none, the next committee is elections. Councilmember Fry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have just one item on the agenda, which was to increase the pay for the election judges, which we just did.
Okay. Any questions on that? Seeing none, the next committee is Health, Environment, and Community Engagement. That committee is chaired by Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you very much, Madam President. The Health, Environment, and Community Engagement Committee will be bringing forward 3 items for consideration. The first is a passage of ordinances amending Title 10 of the Minneapolis Code of Ordinances relating to the Food Code, and it's repealing redundant sections having to do with bread, eggs, and water for drinking and domestic purposes. The second item is approving a council appointment of Margaret Reinhardt to the Minneapolis Public Health Advisory Committee for a 2-year term to expire December 31st, 2015. And the third item is authorizing an increase in contracts with Community Action of Minneapolis and Project for Pride in Living to provide healthy homes services for the city. I
Okay.
can stand for
Anyone have
questions.
Any questions on any of those items? Seeing none, next committee is Intergovernmental Relations, and that committee is chaired by Council Vice President Glidden, and Councilmember Kano is the vice chair.
Thank you, Madam President. We have two items for consideration. Number one is the proposed charter amendment regarding the sale of wine and beer in certain establishments. That is a passage of a resolution adopting title and ballot language pertaining to a proposed amendment to the Minneapolis City Charter, the plain language revision regarding the sale of wine and beer in certain establishments, to be submitted to the qualified voters of the City of Minneapolis at the gubernatorial general election on November 4th, 2014. The second item is the 2015 fiscal year federal policies agenda, and that is to approve the federal legislative agenda.
Okay. Anyone have any questions on those items? Seeing none, next committee is Public Safety, Civil Rights, and Emergency Management. And that committee is chaired by Councilmember Yang.
Thank you, Madam President. We have three items. The first item is to authorize a contract agreement with the first 48 television documentary series to highlight the MP Day. Second is to authorize a joint powers agreement with the BCA for the Minneapolis Police Department to support 4 DNA analysts. And the third item is to authorize an agreement with the Minnesota Vikings for law enforcement services in the neighborhoods adjacent to TCF Stadium.
Anyone have any questions on those items? Seeing none, next committee is Transportation Public Works, and that committee is chaired by Councilmember Reich.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee will be forwarding 8 items for full council consideration. Item 1 regards the Skyway Construction Agreement Amendment. Item 2 is the Lynn Lake Municipal Parking Lot impact fee set for a certain period. Item 3 is a passage resolution authorizing an interagency agreement with MnDOT for the St. Anthony Bridge project. Item 4 is the Bicycle Coalition's request for Nicollet Avenue Open Streets application. Item 5 is the Nicollet Mall Construction Management Services RFP. The following items referred to the Ways and Means Committee. Item 6 is the West 36th Street Bike Project and a series of actions to support that project. Item 7 is the public pound, refers to the public impound towing bids, and there will be several districts and several companies to serve those areas. And item 8 are 2 low bids for items for public works functions. I will stand for questions on any items.
Anyone have any questions on the Transportation Public Works report? Seeing none, our next committee is the Ways and Means Committee, and that is chaired by Councilmember Quincy.
Thank you, Madam President. There are going to be 9 items on the Ways and Means Committee agenda for your consideration on Friday. First is a legal settlement. The second item is going to be execution of agreement for Nicollet Avenue Public Art. The third item is authorizing and extending and increasing a contract with Allied Waste Services of North America for a waste hauling bid at the Convention Center. Items 4, 5, 6, 7 are all related to IT department extensions of contracts. They include an enterprise performance management system agreement with Halogen Software, the Environmental Services or Systems Research Institute, otherwise known as ESRI, for hosting geographical information system data services, and membership extensions with the Corporate Executive Board Company, and financial system upgrades with the Compass program. The 8th item is the Animal Care and Control Grant, accepting a grant from the American Society for Prevention of Cruelty of Animals to fund 3 pieces of equipment at Animal Care and Control. And the final item will be the Enterprise Data Strategy Implementation, executing a contract with Stream Integration. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Councilmember Quincy on the Ways and Means items? Seeing none, next we have the Zoning and Planning report, and that committee is chaired by Councilmember Bender.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have 5 items to forward. The first is Linden Crossing at 4250 and 4246 Upton Avenue South to deny an appeal and approve applications related to this 4-story mixed-use project and to adopt the findings of fact prepared by the city attorney. And I believe Councilmember Palmisano has a clarifying motion that she'll mention at the end of my report. Item number 2 is to approve 2 appointments to the Minneapolis Arts Commission. Item number 3 is to approve a petition to rezone properties at 1227 4th Street Southeast and 425 13th Avenue Southeast from R5 to R3 for the Riverton Community Housing Project. Item number 4 is the Marcy Homes Neighborhood Master Plan and Dinkytown Business District Plan to approve those plans and amend the policy guidance for the area into the city's comprehensive plan. And finally, item number 5 is regarding the Mississippi River Corridor Critical Area draft rules, which are being drafted by the DNR to direct our staff to provide a response to their request for comments, to work with the DNR on their rulemaking process to ensure that our city interests are addressed. So I'll forward those items.
Okay. Councilmember Palmisano.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to say that I'll be, I'll be moving a clarifying condition that clarifies the rooftop condition. This does not change the committee action in any way. It just clearly states the 4th story step backs. Thanks.
Okay. All right, we'll see that tomorrow. Any other items for zoning and planning? Seeing none. Ms. Siegel, do we have a closed meeting on Friday after our session? Am I remembering that?
Madam Chair, yes.
Okay.
There is.
All right, great. Thank you. Any other business before Committee of the Whole? Seeing none, a motion to adjourn is in order. All in approval, say aye. Aye. Opposed, we're adjourned. Thank you.